On October 19, 2015, Stephen Harper was officially kicked out of 24 Sussex Drive, the official residence of the Prime Minister of Canada. The next day, Harper announced that he was stepping down as the Tory leader, leaving his position open for someone to replace. This means that science in Canada no longer needs to fear the presence of its greatest arch-nemesis in politics, Mr. Harper. Harper has been a bully to science ever since he became Prime Minister back in 2006. Scientists across the country would reprimand the Conservative government's insidious attack on science and consistently blamed Harper for his lack of political transparency surrounding this issue. Harper's government made a systematic effort to prevent the flow of scientific information through communication restrictions among publicly funded scientists and the media, the suppression of scientists' ability to collaborate or publish their findings, and the dismantling of research facilities producing harmful results for Harper's re-election campaign. Let's first take a look at how he has muzzled scientists. The erosion began in 2007 when it became mandatory for public servants, including publicly funded scientists, to gain approval prior to engaging in conversations with the media. One of the first instances of this occurring was in April of 2006, less than 2 months after Harper became Prime Minister. Mark Tushingham, a climatologist employed at Environment Canada, was prohibited from attending a press club luncheon for his own novel Hotter Than Hell. The media suggested that this was because his novel focused on climate change, an issue that was not on Harper's political radar for the years to come, or for any of the years that he was actually in power for that matter. When the Conservative government was confronted with backlash due to the implementation of this policy, it was suggested that this was a tool to protect intellectual property rights. However, they never elaborated on the ambiguity of this abstruse claim. In the 9 years that Harper was Prime Minister, he dismissed over 2,000 federal scientists and researchers. Of the ones that remained, 90% claimed that they felt muzzled while he was Prime Minister. Now let's turn to the funding cuts and closures Harper has made to research programs and facilities. The Harper administration claimed that they made closures to research facilities in an effort to engage in a deficit-reducing austerity program. This claim is outrageous if you take a look at Harper's attempt to close the Experimental Lakes area. The Experimental Lakes area is one of the world's greatest freshwater research facilities and has immensely contributed to the way we view different reservoirs of water and the life within them. Nevertheless, Harper was adamant on closing this area, which costed the government $2 million annually to operate. However, if this staple in scientific research were to shut down, it would cost approximately $20 to $50 million in cleanup liability fees, as some experiments involved polluting lakes to examine the ecological effects. Therefore, Harper was not saving taxpayers' money and was more interested in making closures to programs pursuing research that could reveal problems with his government's political agenda. Harper was also a major supporter of the fossil fuel industry. Concomitantly, his government was not in support of science facilities that detected the impacts of industrial activity on the environment. Programs like the Ocean Contaminants and Marine Toxicology Program, which detected industrial pollutants in marine mammal populations, have suffered as a result. Harper's government made egregious decisions when it came to the closure of these facilities, as it increased unemployment in these sectors, decreased funding, eliminated research, and demolished infrastructure. Lastly, let's focus on how Harper made it more difficult for Canadian scientists to collaborate with researchers abroad. A couple of years ago, an American scientist was asked to sign a confidentiality agreement in order to continue working with Canadian scientists on Arctic issues. Understandably outraged, the American refused and released the details of the new rules. The American scientist claimed that the Canadian government scientists would find themselves in less collaborations with non-Canadians as a result, further weakening Canadian science. So now that Harper is out of office, you may ask why this issue is still relevant. Well, it is because similar issues are currently taking place all over the world. In contemporary democratic societies, elected officials feel powerful and infringe on not only scientific but political integrity. No matter who we are, everyone should have a say in the way society operates, as we are all equal in the name of the law. The major theme from this issue is how the Conservative government's meddling in scientific enterprise was an assault on democracy. It is important to understand and recognize this concern so history does not repeat itself and we do not find ourselves in a similar circumstance down the road.